Welcome back. This is Chicken Philosophy. The Divine Pymander of Hermes, as we like to call him, Trismegistus. Part 9, in which we'll read probably chapter 5 of the Divine Pymander of Hermes Trismegistus. Assuming it's not too long. We ended up reading chapter 4 last time, and we were very pleasantly surprised to discover that it was fine. It wasn't nearly as irritating as chapters 2 or 3, and so that's lovely. That's great. That means there's hope. Chapter 5 might also be good. So stay tuned, and you'll find out at the same time that I find out. See, it's kind of like a reaction video, except instead of watching a show or a movie, I'm reading a book. Today's episode is brought to you by the arcane Greek letter D gamma, or wow. Uppercase looks like that. Might look familiar. You might look at that and say, yeah, that's not a Greek letter. It used to be. It used to be. It obviously inspired the letter that we use, F. But anyway, so, okay, just real quick. So here's the lowercase down there. See it? What happened was, last time we did epsilon. And so today I was like, okay, well, what's next? Zeta. All right, we're doing zeta. And it said, has a numeric value of 7. I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, what? And so then I did a little digging, and found out that, okay, yeah, epsilon has a value of 5. Zeta has a value of 7. So what has a value of 6? D gamma, or wow. I think wow, like as in Vav. Anyway, I think in the past I've looked at the alphabets and been like, well, what happened to Vav? We have it in English, but they don't have it in Greek. Anyway, so yeah, they don't use it anymore. It's not in modern Greek. But this is the D gamma as a numeral. It means 7. So, okay, just to read this, it originally stood for the sound W, but it has remained in use principally as a Greek numeral for 6. Whereas it was originally called wow or wow, W-A-W or W-A-U. What's the difference? I don't know. Its most common appellation in classical Greek is D gamma as a numeral. Yeah, okay. It was called episemon, perhaps, during the Byzantine era and is now known as stigma. After the Byzantine ligature combining these two things as this, whatever that means. Stigma, Isn't that like a bad thing? Is it the Byzantine era? Did the Christians do something weird? I'll read a little more about it because this is interesting. I didn't know about this until 10 minutes ago. D gamma, or wow, was part of the original archaic Greek alphabet as initially adopted from Phoenician, like its model, Phoenician wow. Here's the Phoenician wow. Here's, of course, the Hebrew vav. We usually call it vav, right? But it's the same idea, wow and v. It's interesting how I didn't know until I started traveling that a lot of people switch, Z and J get switched and swapped just willy-nilly. And then some people V and W, V and U, those two sounds just get switched. Is it Ishvara or Ishwara? Oh, either one. Yeah, whatever. Those are just two different ways of saying it. It's they're two very different words, aren't they? The consonantal doublet of the vowel letter upsilon, oopsie, which was also derived from wow, but was placed near the end of the Greek alphabet. D gamma, or wow, is in turn the ancestor of the Latin letter F. I knew that much. As an alphabetic letter, it is attested in archaic and dialectical ancient Greek inscriptions until the classical period. All right. The shape of the letter went through development from this through this, at which point it was conflated with the thing, ligature, I don't know. In modern print, a distinction is made between the letter in its original alphabetic role as a consonant sign, which is rendered as F, or its modern lowercase variant, which also looks like an uppercase F, and the numeric symbol, which is represented by that symbol. In modern Greek, it is often replaced by the digraph, this thing. All right, back to the show. If you would like to watch the Divine Pymander series on chicken philosophy from the beginning, including the introduction, then here's the playlist for the Divine Pymander on chicken philosophy. And you can enjoy yourself doing that. So today's beverage is some lavender tea it's actually a chai glass. I know it sort of vaguely resembles a shot glass, but this is what generally I'm in India, for those who are new. And when you get a chai, see, I wasn't really feeling the direct sunlight today, but you got a little bit of direct sunlight. If you can, yeah, there it is on the glass. See it? All right. Anyway, lighting, it's fun. Cheers. That distinctly tastes like lavender. And for the incense, we've got this teeny tiny little oriental bouquet, which, if you ask me, is kind of appropriate, considering oriental means Eastern, and the Divine Pymander is Greek. You can't get much more Eastern than that. Although I suppose you could get into, like, Afghanistan and... Well, there's things east of Greece, but, you know, Greece is definitely beyond the point where East begins. I'm fucking with you. I'm you know, just people use these terms Eastern and Western, and they keep changing depending on which racist asshole wants to accomplish what, and that's just how the river flows, how the cookie crumbles, and how the... something, I don't know, whatever. All right. Is there anything else before we get started? The cat's here. That's good. I was a little worried about that cat because I hadn't heard from her, in a while. It's usually very noisy. Oh my God, that's been open this whole time. All right. Yeah, okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to go ahead and put on my reading glasses so I can read and see up close. And, oh, I can see myself in the reflection. And do we really want this lighting today? Yeah, a little bit of sunlight. Sit a little forward. Be a little different. Might as well take advantage of this 8 a.m. situation. All right. Are you ready? Shall I get reading? Will I be able to see? That's the question. All right, so this is the Divine Pymander. Chapter 5, or V, for those of you who don't speak Roman numerals. And the little blurb at the top is, of Hermes, the Trismegistus, to his own son Tat. Again, all right, that was the premise of chapter 4 as well. That the invisible God is most manifest. All right. Sounds good so far. I'm going to be skipping most of these, like, plentiful footnotes. It's a run-on footnote from the footnotes on the previous page. Whole lot of footnotes, but I kind of want to stay in the flow of, like, reading the ancient text, not like, according to Philip so-and-so, this line is upside down. Okay, you ready? So this is chapter 5, verse 1. This discourse also, O Tat, I will go through with thee, in order that thou mayest not be uninitiate in the name, capital N, of the, capital T, more excellent God, capital G. But do thou understand how that seeming to the many non-apparent shall become very apparent to thee. For it would be, if it were non-apparent. Full stop. That's the end of the sentence. That's the beginning at, for it would be, comma, if it were non-apparent. And that's where the period goes. Apparently only Americans will say period, meaning full stop. The rest of the English-speaking world says full stop. So when Americans shout out period, all the other English-speaking countries are like, why did he just randomly blurt out about the menstrual cycle? Like, what's his problem? Okay. For everything apparent is generated, for it hath appeared. But the non-apparent always is, for it has no need to appear. Now, if I were in a different kind of mood, I'd be like, oh, yeah, isn't that convenient? It doesn't need to appear because it's invisible, and it's because it doesn't exist. It's not really there. Isn't that kind of the definition of... No, I'm feeling frisky today, so I'll go along with it. Yeah, I dig it. Yeah. No need for it to appear. Okay, you ready? Anyway, sorry. For it ever is, and makes all other things apparent. Yeah. He being non-apparent, as ever being, himself making manifest, is not made manifest. Not himself generated, but in imagination, imagining all things. For imagination is of the things generated only, for imagination is naught but generation. N-A-U-G-H-T. Add it to your vocabulary if it wasn't there already. All right. 2, chapter 5, verse 2, in other words. 2. But the one ingenerate is plainly both unimaginable and non-apparent, but imagining all things. He appears through all things and in all things, and especially in those in whom he may have wished to appear. The chosen, perhaps? Just fucking with you. Whatever. Anyway, do thou then, O child Tat, pray first to the Lord and Father, and only, and one, and from whom the one to be propitious, that thou mayest be able to understand the God so great, if that but one ray of him may shine forth upon thine understanding. So here's a trick. So, O one and only God, who alone I worship, who is known by many names, among them Yod-He-Vav-He Zabaoth, right? In the name of thy mighty archangel Hanael, send forth the particular manifestation in the Greek pantheon of thy Venusian beingness, Aphrodite.
I am Aphrodite.
That I may worship you in the form of this lady that I've hired. You know, like, so you can always find a loophole. So you're still technically in the Ten Commandments. So, I'll just, never mind, I'll keep reading. Do thou then, O child Tat, pray first to the Lord and... Oh, wait, we already read that. For understanding alone discerns the non-apparent, as being itself non-apparent. If thou art able, it will appear to the eyes of thy mind, O Tat. For the Lord is without envy, for he appeareth throughout the whole world. Thou mayest be able to take understanding, to see it, and lay hold of it with thine own hands. The sun has moved a bit, so it's no longer in an ideal spot for me to... I have to kind of be down here to keep that whole thing going, so... Just gonna take it as it comes. Specialize in Doors lyrics. Cheers. Thou mayest be able to take understanding, to see it, and lay hold of it with thine own hands, and to contemplate the image of the god. But if that within thee is non-apparent to thee, how shall he in himself through thine eyes appear to thee? If that within thee is non-apparent to thee. Okay. I mean, I always assume that the thing that I already had previously understood to be reality before I opened the book is what they're trying to say, which isn't a very good way to go through your life. But if that is the case, then as long as you're tapped in to that ineffable, unknowable, unfathomable source of all, which is your own true self, then anything you behold that you can see and hold and behold, you can truly experience the divine within it, right? But if you're not in touch with that unknowable divine, then you'll be looking at the particulars of the form of the thing in front of you and trying to find the divine within it, or just sort of shrugging off like, divine, what does that word even mean? I like the way this little bump is here, or whatever it is you're looking at, avocado or whatever. 3, if, however, thou wishest to see him, consider the sun. There it is. Consider the course of the moon. Consider the order of the stars. Let's see, we got a little solar system happening. Solar system rocking. Who is he maintaining this order? I mean, okay, yeah, the metaphor, right. He who is maintaining the order of the stars and the planets. Makes sense if it's a metaphor, right? Or if you're some kind of fundy. No, there's a spectrum, right? Never mind, I'll just keep reading. For the whole order is determined by number and place. I have noticed that. The sun is the greatest god of the gods of the heaven. So whatever star you happen to be closest to is the greatest god of the gods of the heaven. All right. And to whom all the heavenly gods yield as if to a king and dynasty. I think they still haven't figured out the whole solar system thing. But, working within their, how they're perceiving things. Yeah, the metaphor works. The solar center of the universe, the center from which all lines are equal, right? Or whatever. And this is so vast, the greater, what? And this, the so vast, and this, the so vast, those are the words on the page. The greater than earth and sea submits, having above itself stars revolving smaller than itself. They're not smaller. They're just really far away, dude. Whom referencing or whom fearing, O child? Question mark. Is Tat the child? And each of these, the stars being in heaven, make not a like or equal course. Who is he, having defined to each the way and the magnitude of the course? I mean, there's levels on which I could be like, oh, you poor, sweet, summer child, is that what they say? When the dust whirls together because of gravity, it ends up, some planets fall into the star at the center of the system, and, the ones that work their way into a perfect, they're like forever falling, but they're caught in the gravity well, so they go round and round. There's no he involved. He doesn't come around until life evolves. That's like one level on which to take it, and then the other level, there's various levels. It's up to you, however you want to take it. You can be like, this is stupid, or you can be like, yes, it's close. If it were the Bible, it would be 100%, but It's hinting at the Bible, so it's 98%. That's what the guy who introduced and presumably translated, that's his position. But I think there are other positions. That's the thing. And that's important, I think, to emphasize. That you can take the question, who is the one who ordered the planets? And not automatically go, God, or, you're an idiot. There's no person. It's just science. Like, it's because the answer is it's me with a capital M, right? Or us, if you want to get pluralistic about it. Polytheism, polyamory. 4, this bear, the bear constellation, which turned about itself and carrying round along with it the whole world order. All right, I can get into it. The bear. Are we talking about Gavin fucking the bear on the flag? Don't mean to get political, but he's kind of, well. Who is he having fabricated that organism? Who is he having cast bounds about the sea? Hooo-Heee, forgot the is, having established, with no E, the earth. Isn't this like Latin? Oh, established as old-timey Latin. Old-timey English for established, right, I forgot. Okay. For there is someone, O Tat, the maker and lord of all these things. For it is impossible that either place or number or measure be conserved apart from the maker. The thing is, though, it's like, it's skipping steps to just say, yeah, God, aka me. Yes, and in order to actually get in touch with the reality of that, not just have it be words coming out of your mouth, you must destroy, if you will, or get past, or transcend, or ignore, or, transmute what normies call the self in order to get in touch with the self. The self gets eaten up by the self. And then the self submits to the self and then dissolves into the self, and then all there is self, right? And then chop wood, carry water, right? And nothing coherent happened, right? Makes sense? No. For it is impossible that either place or what? For it is impossible that either place or number or measure be conserved apart from the maker. He uses his own ruler. You know what I'm saying? Where's my ruler? For all order cannot be made without place and without measure. But without master, neither this, O child. Oh, you gotta have a master. Metaphors. They'll just open to, all right. I'll kind of raise an eyebrow and squint and go along with your metaphor long enough to see what you're getting at before I go off and go, no, nobody needs a master, right? It's a weird metaphor. It's a 2,000-year-old metaphor. Like, leave it alone. No, whatever. I don't know. For if the unordered is defective, in that it doth not keep the way of the order, yet it is under a master, him having not yet ordained the order to it. Full stop. What can we take away from that one? Something about being under a master. Okay. 5. I wish it were possible for thee, becoming winged, to fly up into the air, and being lifted up in the midst between the earth and heaven, to behold the solidity of the earth and the fluidity of the sea, the flowings of rivers, the looseness of the air, the vehemence of fire, the course of stars, the very swift circling of heaven around these. O most fortunate spectacle that, child, at one glance, to behold all these, the immovable in movement, and the invisible apparent, by means of which is affected the very order of the world, and this is the world of the order. I like when they do the switchy thing with the words and their positions, and the positions of the words. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. So if you go up to a big statue, like immovable statue, you walk up to it, right? And then just spin around. And then you can say, this immovable statue is orbiting me. Oh, okay. I'll just keep reading. Sixth. So this is Pymander, chapter 5, verse 6. O thou wouldest behold the Creator also, through the things mortal, those upon the earth and those in depth. Consider, O child, the man fabricated in the belly, womb, abdomen, belly, whatever. We're not trying to be doctors here. We're just... consider, O child, what? Those in depth, but Asclepius is like, yes? Oh, really? In the belly? Oh, I always thought... No, okay, you can call it the belly. Sure, yeah. Those upon the earth and those in the depth. Consider, O child. What? The man fabricated in the belly, and examine accurately the art of the fabricator. The mom? No, of course not. Skip the mom and go straight to the unknowable, unfathomable father. Or at the very least, the guy who donated the sperm. I'm making fun of systemic misogyny. Anyway, subtly. Where were we? Who is he having circumcised the eyes? No. Circumscribed. Oh, that's different. Who is he having circumscribed the eyes? Who-Heee having perforated the nostrils and the ears? Who-Heee having opened the mouth? Who-Heee having stretched out and bound together the nerves? Who-Heee having formed in channels the veins? I remember when my dad asked me, like, how are babies, made or whatever? And I was like, well, first they take the bones, and then he's like, who's they? Who is they? Who is this they you keep talking about? You know who we're talking about. They. No. Sorry. What? He having hardened the bones. Oh, that guy. Who-Heee having cast the skin about the flesh. Who-Heee having separated the fingers and the limbs. Go on. Who-Heee having widened a basis for the feet. Who-Heee having opened the pores. Who-Heee having extended the spleen. Who-Heee having formed the heart pyramid-wise. What? Who-Heee having put together the sides. Who-Heee having widened the liver. Who-Heee having, it's like hee-haw, but Who-Heee having hollowed out the lung. Who-Heee having made the stomach capacious. Who-Heee having fashioned the most honorable parts. I was wondering when he was going to get to them. For being evident, but having concealed the base. All right. Yeah, okay. There's a footnote. Oh, there's a reference to Corinthians. Yes, we know. Thank you. Good old what's his name. So humble and pious that he didn't even put his name on the outside of the book. Tried to avoid. Just want to get the Lord's truth across in the introduction here and in the footnotes. It's talking about Jesus. It's all about the good parts are Jesus. The bad parts are non-Jesus. Right? I don't know. Okay, what? Who-Heee 7. We're done with the Hooo-Heee. So just remember, if anybody says, are you familiar with the Divine Pymander of Hermes Trismegistus, chapter 5, verse 6? Just remember, Hooo-Heee! 5 equals 6, Pymander, Hooo-Heee! Right? 7. Behold how many arts of one material, how many works in one circumscription, and all exceedingly beautiful, and measured, yet all in difference. Who made all these things? What mother? What father? If not alone the invisible God, by the will of himself having created all things. See, here's where I agree. I mean, if you contemplate in silence the leaves around you, get in touch with the things that we have in common with the trees and with a banana. Get in touch with the things that we have in common with stars and stardust. The birth, the life, the fizzling out, and the becoming the seeds for new life. Stretching the definition of life to go beyond, like, organic matter that operates with a cell and a cell membrane and a nucleus, obviously, right? Lighted life, right? And contemplating the vastness of the aeons that have produced life, that have produced the eyes that you see through. Yes, Saturn, the great one of the night of time. But he is but one of the names, one of the manifestations, along with Aphrodite and the others. Right? This metaphor, right? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'll just keep reading. 8. And a statue indeed, or an image apart from a sculptor or painter, no one says can become to be, and hath this creation become to be apart from a creator? Oh, this much blindness. Oh, this much impiety. Oh! So if we assume that you're supposed to think about the aeons, the ancient aeons of the vastness of the void as personified in a person, in a poetic metaphor, in order to relate certain ideas, and you must behave in a way that we'll call piousness toward that metaphor, and then you can just shake your head and look at something and go, oh, the impiety, And then when people point out how absurd that is, you can say, but these idiots all agree with me. You should be pious, right? God is separate from self. Why are you so impious? Yeah, okay. Go back to your egregore, your groupthink. You know that's what that means, right? Groupthink. People talk about it like it's a good thing. Okay. I mean, it can be if you can't handle thinking for yourself, like just join an egregore. No, you can appreciate an egregore. Like, oh, that's an interesting statue. Oh, I like how they do the little purple bits on the side here. That's interesting. But if somebody is like, I am a jar, I have purple bits on the side because it is the right way to be a jar, then you just kind of go, okay, see you in your next life. Maybe you'll... Okay, what a statue, indeed, or an image, the impiety, this much ignorance, never ever, O child, tat, shouldst thou deprive the Creator of his creations. How could you possibly do that? Or are you talking about like that guy with the daughter wives north of the wall? Don't deprive him of his creations. No. That's just what comes to mind. It's the only thing that makes sense. Better and superior it is, and then there's a line. Here occurs a lacuna, and the text is corrupt. Oh. As much as is according to God in name, so much is he the Father of all things, for he is only, and this is the function for him to be, Father. Like, you can groove with it. It's just, it takes a lot of suspension of awareness of everything. To just, without any hesitation, to be like, oh, Father, and mean the one great being that has produced all things. Why not Mother? Well, Mother is the earth. So Mother is different from the Father? Well, yes. Mother was produced by the Father? Yes. So Mother is daughter? Yes. So it's like that guy north of the wall that has a bunch of daughters that become his wives. And no. Or there's the bridge guard. I think they both do that, right? That's kind of a thing in Game of Thrones. The scummy. No. It's all right. So no, it's good. Pater Noster, right? Okay, 9. We're still going, right? But if you compel me to speak something more bold, it is his essence to be pregnant. All right. Of all things, and to make he. We're going to stick with the masculine pronoun, and it is his essence to be pregnant. Continuing, and since apart from the maker, it is impossible that any, like, metaphors in a vacuum, they're just metaphors in a vacuum. But when a society that is so overtly patriarchal, in such an extreme, in the way that women are owned by their fathers until there's a business transfer of ownership to the husband, right? And they're not allowed to vote and all this. Plus, all the metaphors are oriented toward a father who alone is pregnant or whatever. Then you can pick on the metaphor, and then you can't help but pick on the metaphor. Then it's actually hard to tap into anything pure, going on in the metaphor without that little voice going, "Yeah, these people are pretty fucked, aren't they? Yeah. Stupid ancestors," right? Okay, all right, where were we? 9. Since apart from the maker it is impossible that anything be generated, so it is also impossible that he ever be not, unless ever making all things in heaven, in air, in earth, in depth, in every part of the world, in every part of the universe, in that being and in that not being. For that was cool. I like that line. For there is nothing in the universal world which is not him. Now, to be clear, I think chapter 5 is fine. I'm nitpicking about very large issues that there's no way they're going to come out from under. Like, people aren't even coming out from under it in 2026, right? And then the people who are doing it in kind of like awkward and cute ways that it's kind of like, good effort, keep trying, but of course one would be a fool to expect someone 2,000 years ago to be out from under it. Even Lord Buddha is a bit of a misogynist, right? So I'm not saying that I don't like this because it's sexist. I'm just pointing that out, but I'm going along with it. It's fine. Right. In every part of the universe, except for like certain aspects of it. Like I think the parts that the translator is like, yes, this is good. You should be self-flagellating and feeling guilty about not being pious enough about the personification of the creator of the universe, right? So I guess I'm not 100% on board with it, but a lot of it's fine. I'd say more than 50%, right? The 45% that's not, because of the world that we live in, can tend to outweigh depending on where you're sitting, what you're taking into consideration while you're sitting there, and weighing the effects that things have on various levels. Like if you're astral, if you're 100% astral, if you're like in a place where if somebody came up and they were like, hey, you remember your physical life? And you were like, what are you talking about? Like, you're a guy who was born and you're sleeping right now. And you're like, no, like I'm, a bird and I'm flying through the ether and, I'm going to go to that crystal planet over there. Like, while you're in that state, then if somebody came up and said, the Father of all things said hi, might be like, oh, cool. Tell him I said hi back. But when you're living in a world that, you know what I mean? Then it's like, oh, the Father, is he? Oh, okay. No, what? Okay. Who's the mother? Well, she's a lady. She lived 2,000 years ago. She, original sin was removed from her when she was 3 years old so that she'd be a good vessel for the coming of the Savior, don't you know? Yeah, sounds about right. No. What? I don't know. Ave Maria, gratia plena. Are we done here? I don't know. I feel like maybe we're done here, but okay. I think I'm derailing. My mind is detaching from. I thought I was going to maybe finish. You remember I was saying depending on how long it is. It's almost over. All right, we're going to finish chapter 5. Let's focus, power through these next few verses. These chapters aren't long. Okay. So much impiety, as much according to thy name, so much he the Father of all things, for he is only, and this is the function for him to be, Father. 9. Oh no, then he's pregnant. Okay. Heaven, air, he is both the entities. All right. In that being and that non-being, okay, I remember that. For there is nothing in the universal world which is not him. Yeshua mihi omnia. Aside from the problematic pronouns, I'm totally on board with that one. Yeshua. He is both entities. This. He is both the entities and those non-entities. For the entities he hath manifested, but those non-entities he hath in himself. Yeah, he's sounding like Ibn Arabi. It's like they're drinking the same wine, let's say. 10, not Kool-Aid. 10. This, the God, is superior to a name. This, the unmanifest. This, the most manifest. To be contemplated by the mind. This, visible to the eyes. This incorporeal, multicorporeal. How am I so on board with what you're saying all of a sudden when you're saying such horse shit the rest of the time? Yea, rather of everybody. For there is nothing which this, with a capital T, is not. For this is alone all things. And because of this he has all names. That he is one Father. And because of this he has not a name, that he is Father of all. Who then is able to bless thee concerning thee or to thee? Looking whither small, I bless thee, above, below, within, without, question mark? For there is no condition to, no place about thee, with a capital T, nor anything else of the entities, for all things are in thee. Pull some of those things out of thee. I got to make room for all things for the Lord. Oh, we're talking about the Lord. Never mind. That's whatever. Leave it all in there. It's fine. Whatever. If somebody walks in, then they walk in. If they take a picture and post it all over the internet, well, all things from thee, having given all things and receiving nothing, for thou hast all things and nothing that thou hast not. 11, and final. This is the 11th and final verse of chapter 5 of the Divine Pymander of Hermes Trismegistus. 11. When, O Father, shall I hymn thee? Hymn. For neither thine hour nor time is it possible to ascertain, concerning what also shall I hymn? Concerning what things thou hast made, or concerning those thou hast not made, concerning those thou hast made manifest, or concerning those thou hast concealed. Wherefore shall I hymn thee? As if being of myself, as if having something mine own, as being another, for thou art what I may be, thou art what I may do, thou art what I may speak, for thou art all things, and there is nothing else that thou art not. How are we on the same page all of a sudden, Hermes? Thou art everything generated, thou that art not generated. Mind also, intelligent, Father too creating, God also energizing, good moreover, and making all things. For of matter indeed, the lightest in parts is air, but of air, soul. Of soul, mind. But of mind, the God. Shall I hymn thee? O heavenly King, the Comforter, the Spirit of truth, who art everywhere and fillest all things, treasury of blessings, bountiful giver of life, come and abide in us, and cleanse us of every impurity, and save our souls, O good one. Aside from the overt misogyny and the reference to purity and the need to be saved from something, fearmonger much? Aside from those things, it was a beautiful hymn, I'd say. I didn't write it. That's the... something about the Holy Spirit. I don't know. It's from Orthodox Christianity. Went through Orthodox Christian phase back in the day. Cheers. All right. Well, today was relatively painless, I'd say. Right? Next time, we've got Gwydion doing I Ching, which will be the 14th of the 15th. So let's bring up the stupid thing. So we're in the third quinary. Last time I said first, but no, the bottom. Today I'm blue, and the Pymander is orange. So we're the blue and orange, right in the middle of the bottommost quinary, right? So the next one is going to be the red and white, which is to say Gwydion doing the I Ching. And the whole Gwydion I Ching thing is changed. He's just going to be reading from this book, just like BT and Edward were, until this book teaches us how to do a proper reading, and then we'll figure it out later at that time. But we still will do the little synopsis thing at the end that we like to do when it's the red and white. Long-time viewers will know a little bit what I'm talking about. And those who are new, keep watching. And, yeah, okay. I think for the end screen, I feel like putting up the Immortal 15 up top and the Gilgamesh 15 down below. Just like that, I'm always wanting to encourage a becoming familiar with the Cycle of 15 and the Cycle of 15 compilation videos. So here's a playlist of Cycle of 15 compilation videos, which includes the Immortal 15 and the Gilgamesh 15 and all of the other Cycles of 15. And the Cycle of 15 that we're going to be completing in 2 more episodes is the Metaphorical 15. Looks like this. See, notice if you count them, there's only 13. There'll be 15 little things when it's finished. And then it will have a compilation video as well. And yeah. All right. Okay, so anything else? Not really. Not really. We did Buddhist books yesterday, and it was a continuation of the masturbation thing. So if you want more Buddhist masturbation, you can click there for Cholavagga, spelled like Kulavaga, 3, Part 2. And yeah, okay. I think that's really it. I think that's really everything. Right? The new Gorillaz album, I've been checking it out. There's one song in particular that I'm like, oh, that's the track that I'm like, hey, I think of all the tracks, this one's my favorite. I don't know what, I'm just now actually, I'm at this stage in life because I missed a lot. I missed a lot of things that I might not have missed had I not been completely and 100% focused on the stupid, like the innermost ring of the political bullshit at the center, the heart center of a secretive cult. So I wasn't even like paying attention to the outer rim of the social interactions of the people in that same cult. I was focused on the key players in the middle and trying to reconcile his shit with his shit, and then using my whole body and my whole soul to try to improve the fucking thing and make it a little more positive. I mean, at least that's what I thought I was doing. It's, So yeah, while I was doing that, the whole world was changing. So now the result is I am aware of pop culture and things from the 80s and the first half of the 90s, but the second half of the 90s and then 2000s, I guess they call it, from between 2000 and 2010, there's like one or two things that I caught, like the X-Men. I was aware when Iron Man came out, but like but Gorillaz with a Z, I really had no idea what was going on there until just like the past few days. I mean, since the new album came out, I've been starting to be like, what is this? What? I'm going back and like learning about the original albums and stuff. I mean, you can't really go through life without hearing the music. The big hits, of course, that get played everywhere you go. But anyway, all right. So that's been my personal little self-education off after hours is that. So anyway, okay, that's it. We're done. Been done a while. I've just been sitting here rambling. You're still here though, so that's interesting. Feel free to like and subscribe. Feel free to comment below. And all right, so Gwydion will be up next with the I Ching, and next time you see me will be the beginning of the new cycle of 15 when I'm reading Carl Jung, the Black and Blue episode. So until then.